Before I quickly get this video started, yours truly just finally caught a fucking Squirtle! Alright. Luckily it was at my neighbor's house from across the street. Hope he won't mind. But anyway, welcome everybody to another episode of TheDoubleZTV. You guys know by now, here on my show, I'm the champ. So, this is a pay-per-view review that I knew I would dread. I've heard a lot of people say that this is the worst pay-per-view in WWE history, and we're gonna talk about it. King of the Ring, 1995, or shall I say, Burger King of the Onion Ring. As we all know, King of the Ring was known for having the big, long, freaking tournament every year at the pay-per-view. So, how did 1995 go? Well, I can describe it in one word. Bad. So, this show had 8 matches on the card, and it's time to go over how the show went. Opening contest, Savio Vega defeated Yokozuna via count-out. This match, nothing redeeming about it all. One half of a star. The match was just very bad, boring action. For some reason, they were making Yokozuna look inferior compared to Savio Vega, which was absolutely absurd in a booking way. The match was just very sluggish, and it was just a blah finish for the way Savio won. Just a count-out. Match number 2, one that had a botched finish. The Roadie, later known as the Road Dogg Jesse James, defeated Bob Holly, otherwise known as Thurman Sparkplug, and reincarnated later on as Hardcore Holly. The Roadie was blocking a diving big boot by Holly, and the referee still counted 3 even though Bob Holly kicked out, and it was counted as the end of the match. The match overall was just bad. There was some okay action, but there was nothing exciting, and like I said, they botched that finish. Nothing redeemable, like 3/4 of a star. Not good. So that meant the Roadie went into the next round of the tournament. Match number 3, the one that went to a time limit draw. Shawn Michaels and Kama, aka Kama Mustafa, later known as the Godfather, went to a time limit draw. 15 minutes. 2 3/4 out of 5 stars. It was almost a good match. There was some good action, nice back and forth action, and there was some nice back work done in the match. There were a lot of rest holds that were killing the time and all that, but I liked how they kind of timed the finish where it was like Shawn Michaels was about to win, switching music, 1, 2, time. Sorry, you can't win. Something that they couldn't quite get done at WrestleMania 16, but that's a different story. Next up, one that was shocking. Mabel defeated The Undertaker in the other match of the tournament. I believe this was the quarterfinals. This was just bad. 1 1/4 out of 5 stars. Very blah match. Very meh action. I was impressed by the chokeslam by The Undertaker onto Mabel. But the match was just slow and sluggish, and the finish was just terrible. I mean, Kama barely interfered in the match with like a punch. Mabel had to get a leg drop, and holy cow, Mabel wins. It's just a bad finish choice. It's like one punch. Oh, you friggin' knocked out The Undertaker, which was bad. Bad. Next up, Savio Vega in the semifinals match defeats the Roadie. This match was also bad. 1/2 of a star out of 5. The match ended via roll-up. The match was just very slow and boring. Action was just blah. Nothing dramatic. The match just blah, 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 blah. Blah. That's the best word I can describe it. Very blah match. And of course, because Kama Mustafa and Shawn Michaels went to a time limit draw, that meant Mabel got a bye into the finals of the tournament. And then, of course, the best match of the night was the big culmination of the Bret Hart-Jerry Lawler feud that was supposed to have ended about 2 years prior, but of course Jerry Lawler was falsely accused of pedophilia. But Bret Hart defeated Jerry Lawler in the infamous Kiss My Foot match. Jerry Lawler was doing whatever he could to make his foot stink and just reek before the match. But Bret Hart won with a sharpshooter. Good match. I liked that Jerry was delivering 3 pile drivers onto Bret Hart. They had a nice story and pretty well done action. They botched part of the match because Jerry was supposed to take his boot off and hit Bret in the face with it, and it ended up being in front of the referee, but the referee was like, just nah. That's where it gets bad. If you're doing something that's supposed to be cheating and it happens in front of the referee, you're like, yeah. Minus points on that. And Hakushi even interfered and botched his timing into the match on getting ahead in the match, but Brett still won with the sharpshooter, 3 out of 5 stars. Brett ended up having, Jerry had to kiss Brett's foot, and then Brett put Lawler's foot in his own mouth, and then later on, Brett was celebrating. Jerry was later seen backstage in the bathroom, practically drinking mouthwash and vomiting into the sink. Yeah, that's where you got your own foot in your mouth. And then, of course, the poorly booked finish, or poorly booked ending to the tournament. Mabel defeats Savio Vega to become King of the Ring, aka the Burger King of the Onion Ring. Terrible. A quarter of a star. Match finished with a splash. Very, very boring match. Very slow. Very sluggish. A lot of action. The finish was severely anticlimactic. Bad choice for Mabel to win, and the crowd was just so bored that you had the whole thing of ECW chants throughout the show, or throughout the match. Because the crowd did not care. And that was poorly booked because they were booking Savio to try to look strong, especially with that opening match against Yokozuna, yet Mabel won with the splash, and Mabel is the King of the Ring for some reason. Why? Who knows? And then the disappointing tag team finish match. Diesel and Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Tatanka and Psycho Sid. This whole thing was just bad. Very boring match. They were trying... I like that they were going with some arm work on Diesel because he had the whole injury to his arm that Psycho Sid broke his arm with the chokeslam and the powerbomb and all that stuff. The action was just blah, very sluggish match. The match just felt very pointless. And it was a lame finish. I mean, Diesel hit the jackknife powerbomb on Tatanka. He was signaling at Psycho Sid saying, I want you. Psycho Sid walks out. Diesel's watching. All of a sudden he turns to Tatanka. He's like, oh shit. Decides to drop a standing elbow. And that pins Tatanka. 1 out of 5. That's the best you can get. Overall. Oh. Was this the worst pay-per-view of all time in WWE history? Almost. Barely almost. Barely the second worst pay-per-view of all time. The one worst, I still say, December to Dismember. That is still, I declare, the worst. This is the second worst, barely. Out of a 10-star rating, 1.25. That is 0.25 rating barely higher than December to Dismember. Barely. If you guys want one show to avoid, here's this one. There's absolutely nothing redeeming about this show whatsoever. And plus, Mabel winning led to the main event of SummerSlam 1995 against Diesel. If you've seen that show, you know why it is a dreadful show and a main event. I had more fun freaking watching Pain Try than watching that main event. Like I said, this whole thing was just poorly done. Savio Vega looking somehow strong against Yokozuna of all people. The Roadie and Bob Holly having a botched finish. Shawn Michaels and Kama Mustafa going to a time limit draw. Mabel defeating The Undertaker with a botched finish, like a lame botched finish and all that in that garbage. Savio Vega and the Roadie being very boring. Brett and Jerry was the good match of the night, and it was a redeeming thing to finally end that feud. Mabel defeating Savio, horrible, and a terrible finish and all that stuff. And the tag team match offered nothing. So like I said, 1.25 out of 10 stars. Avoid at all costs. Avoid at all costs. I would rather watch the China X-Pac porno video than this ever again. So let me know in the comment section below. What did you, for anybody who's seen the show, what did you guys think of King of the Ring 1995? I warn you, never watch it. Ever. If you want just one match to watch, just watch the Bret Hart Jerry Lawler match. Skip the rest. Skip at all costs. You'll want to do more skipping on this than freaking hopscotch. Or even more than skip rope. So that is it for another episode of TheDoubleZTV, folks. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See ya. The champ has spoken, folks.